As I unpacked my last suitcase in my Seoul apartment that cold January morning, I could feel a whirlwind of emotion stirring within me. A sense of anticipation, platted with a comforting familiarity, filled the room as I gazed out the window at the vibrant city I once called home. It felt like waking up from a long sleep where dreams of old and new blended into a reality that was mine to shape. I had returned exactly where my journey had begun years ago, but with experiences and insights that transformed me beyond recognition. The little girl who once sketched in the confines of her room had journeyed through corners of the world, graduated from Hongik University, designed award-winning products, and grappled with life's unpredictable turns. This transition was not merely a change of location, but a leap towards the next chapter in my narrative, a leap towards dreams once imagined in the mystic alleys of childhood. Each unpacked item from my suitcase was not just a thing, but a symbol, a part of my journey that was now finding its place in the continuity of my life. The colors of my worn-out sketchbook fading, the clay modeling tools slightly chipped at the edges, the pictures adorned with smiles of dear ones. All of it told stories that echoed in the quiet solitude of my apartment. The aroma of kimchi from my neighbor's kitchen wafted through my window, tugging at my heartstrings with a sense of nostalgia tinged with warmth. The sounds and sights that once blended into the background of my life were now rendering a profound sense of belonging, as if welcoming me into an embrace that was patiently waiting all this time. Yet amongst the knowing whispers of the city, there was an inexplicable spark of novelty. It was as if I was being reintroduced to a place I'd always known, yet this time, through the refracted lens of all the places I'd been and people I'd encountered in the interlude. My familiar apartment was now the dwelling of an industrial designer who had tasted the thrill of innovation and the bitterness of failure. Here I was, once again at the precipice of a new beginning, staring at the city I grew up in with a perspective broadened by time and experience. But this familiar setting was now my stage for an exciting new role, as lead designer at Volt Motors. In this cradle of memories, I found myself on a path leading towards dreams I'd once considered far-fetched. The carefully arranged design sketches on my desk, the occasional hum of my 3D printer, the scheduled marathon training marked on my calendar, each was a testament of change, a peek into the journey yet to unfold. On the face of many roads I've walked, I sensed a celestial thread weaving my past, present, and a future filled with opportunities. So, as the chill of January softened and the city of Seoul hummed its timeless rhythm, I knew a precipice was crossed. A new chapter had begun. Receiving the news of my promotion in the understated, modest office wasn't akin to the dramatic scenes often depicted in movies. Yet the thrill and jubilation I felt were no less palpable. An attempt to suppress my excitement for professional decorum's sake had me hurriedly thanking the team, although my mind raced with the impending responsibilities and the myriad of opportunities this promotion entailed. Apprehension jostled with elation as I held the title, lead designer at Volt Motors. With a renewed sense of purpose, I spent days revamping my workspace, determined to create a place that heralded creativity and productivity. I placed my worn-out sketchbooks and various design awards on my desk as reminders of the journey that brought me here. The blueprint of my first successful project received a special spot on the wall, serving as a tactile testament to my accomplishments and a beacon of inspiration for the challenges ahead. The shift in responsibilities was immediate and noticeable, yet my years at Volt Motors had prepared me for this exact moment. I felt no nervousness as I swiftly transitioned to my new role, driven by creative zeal and incessant curiosity. Day by day, my once familiar office morphed into an innovation lab where design ideas came to life, and spurred by a collective ingenuity, I was unwavering in reaching for the heights that once seemed unattainable. As I headed my first team meeting as a lead designer, I scanned the expectant faces and realized the profound impact of being in a position to inspire and be looked up to. I felt a surge of gratitude for having had great mentors who'd laid the foundation for me and for this opportunity to pave the way for the next generation of innovative minds. There was a potency in leading the team that resonated deeply with my sense of purpose, of putting a dent in the landscape of the automotive industry. In the time that followed, I delved headfirst into the intricacies of my new role. Every sketch I drafted, every prototype I developed, was a labor of love, a manifestation of my dream that I lived and breathed each day. The premise of innovation leading every decision I made bore fruit when I saw my concepts beautifully metamorphose into groundbreaking designs. Basking in the novelty of my roles, I wasn't oblivious to the challenges that lay ahead. After all, a leadership role brought with it the nuances of management, a realm not entirely familiar. But as the days turned into nights over iterations of design, management strategies, and copious amounts of black coffee, I found myself navigating the complexities with growing self-assurance. I was unyielding in my resolve to fulfill the promise I had made to myself, to excel in my career as an industrial designer, which was no longer merely a passion, but had evolved into a defining part of my identity. It was a usual Tuesday, but not for me. The morning hustle of the Volt Motors office was drowned out by the whirlwind of thoughts in my head. The sunlight streamed through the tall windows, offering an ethereal glow to the spacious office, orchestrating a play of shadows and light around the lifeless sketches and prototypes that quietly narrated tales of creative pursuits. Yet, on that bustling Tuesday morning, my desk seemed peculiarly calm, as if in quiet anticipation. Today, I was about to helm my first project as lead designer. With years of experience and countless designs to my name, the excitement of embarking on a new project had become a familiar friend. Yet the role of a lead designer added an unexplored dimension. For the first time, I was not just a designer but a trailblazer, not merely an executor but a visionary. Sitting at the helm of the project was an honor, yet the responsibility that came along with it was daunting. Humbled by the sea of expectations, I reminded myself what industrial design was about. Not vanity, but value. I wasn't designing just another vehicle for Volt Motors. I was shaping an experience, defining a lifestyle for our consumers. From the ergonomic seats that cocooned them on long journeys to the dynamic exteriors that reflected their personality, every thread of my design intertwined to weave the fabric of their life. With these reflections, I started on the task at hand. Every line I drew was a stroke of confidence, every prototype a whispering testament of my creative prowess. My fingers danced across the 3D modeling software, molding the faceless concept into a tangible masterpiece. Days turned into nights, as every hour brought us closer to seeing our vision in metal and rubber, turning the once empty canvas of our brainstorming room into an innovation lab. It was not the kind of design that would just adorn the roads. I aimed for it to be an embodiment of the future, sustainable, efficient, and innovative. The design journey wasn't solitary. I was surrounded by an exceptional team that shared my passion and brought diverse perspectives under the same roof. Their invaluable insights played a critical part in shaping our collective masterpiece. Together, we navigated through creative challenges, pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zones, knitting our shared experiences into the fabric of my first design as lead design. By the end of my first project as a lead designer, I had learned one pivotal lesson. Design wasn't merely about aesthetics or functionality. It was above all about empathy. We were not just crafting a vehicle. We were creating an extension of people's lives, a symbol of their choices and values. That Tuesday marked not just a significant professional growth, but personal growth too, embedding a deeper understanding of my role as an industrial designer in society. As months passed by, life was not only about shapes and designs, but also about love. It was a calm evening when I met Tae-hyung, a fellow engineer at the company. Like two currents in the vast ocean, our lives had an unspoken sync that brewed towards an untold bond. There were evenings after work when we lingered in the silent corners of the city over a cup of coffee, talking about technology, design, our dreams, our fears. His kind eyes mirrored a world of understanding and respect, reflecting a soul that resonated with my passions. There were days when work became our playground, where we dove into the unending sea of ideas together, challenging each other's perspectives but celebrating the diversity in our thoughts. It felt exhilarating to have someone who shared my dedication towards our work, but also the joy of pushing boundaries and exploring things beyond our comfort zones. A mundane Tuesday would become a treasure chest of discussions, impromptu sketches, and playful exchange of innovative ideas. Yet, in this entanglement of love and work, there were times when the boundaries blurred, when balancing the two became like walking on a tightrope. I wondered if my heart had enough room to shelter both my passion for design and this newfound affection without either feeling compromised. But as time passed, I learned that love and ambition were never rivals but companions that mutually fueled each other's growth. Our late-night conversations instilled new layers in my design philosophy, often inspiring me to take bold leaps and experiment without fear of failure. I was no longer designing in solitude. Our exchange of ideas was creating a crucible of creativity that resonated in each design I penned. His insights subtly began to inspire my work. His practical perspective balanced my creative instincts, infusing a new depth into my designs, enriching them with a blend of aesthetics and functionality. As our relationship flourished, it felt like I was painting my journey not just in shades of my experiences, but also with tints inspired by him. Our paths intertwined, shaping a shared canvas of beautiful moments and shared dreams, mirroring our intertwined work-engrossed lives, reflecting in our blooming romance. In this harmonious symphony of love and work, I discovered a rhythm that breathed a new vitality in my life, nurturing both my heart and my art. Slowdowns are a part of life, reaching out to us to reconnect with ourselves and the cherished times tucked away in the corners of our hearts. So, around Christmas that year, I found myself back in the countryside, in the house of my grandparents. This place held a special place in my heart, a pocket of serenity against the unstoppable march of time. Nostalgia washed over me, painting pictures of my childhood summers that I had spent here. I remember the joy of waking up with the first rays of sun, the fragrance of freshly baked bread for breakfast, and the incomparable thrill of running around in the greens, basking under the warm embrace of the sun. I remember cycling to the nearby stream, dipping my toes into the cool water, ice creams on the porch, and Grandma's bedtime stories, times when the world revolved around little joys and hearty laughters. Even after years, the house remained the same, the wooden floors creaking in the sweetest symphony of memories, the smell of earth and aged wood, and the decades-old swing in the backyard that had borne the weight of our childhood laughter. I spent my days there, soaking in the silence, reliving the innocent joy of chasing butterflies and building castles in the air. Upon my return, I thought of how drastically my life had shifted gears, from a young girl on the cusp of her dreams to the woman I had become, leading designs at Volt Motors. Every memory seemed to mirror a part of my own self. The calmness of the countryside, the resilience of the old house, the years etched into it, just as life etched experiences into me, making me who I am. I used to look at my life through two distinct lenses, my career and my personal life, always striving for a balance. Now I look at my life as a whole, a beautiful canvas painted with varied hues of experiences, relationships, and milestones. And while I innately strive for balance, I embrace the swing between intense work phases and heartening personal times, each enriching the other, making my life a balanced mosaic rather than a divided time chart. Right after the tranquility of Christmas spent in the countryside, a big gathering awaited me. On New Year's Eve, I found myself standing amid loud laughter and familiar faces from the university days. Each person weaved their own story in the tapestry of life, and it was a moment carved in time where we unraveled our tales, enriched by our collective experiences. While some had embarked on their entrepreneurial ventures after graduation, others found themselves at the helm of multinational firms, juggling huge responsibilities at a young age. We exchanged stories late into the night, listened to shared experiences, poured ourselves over endless laughter, and joyous memories came rushing back. Despite the different paths we had taken, an underlying connection, built during our formative university years, held us together. The look in everyone's eyes spoke volumes about the challenges they had faced, the milestones they had crossed, and the countless times they had picked themselves up. Looking at them, I felt inspiration welling up within me. In many ways, they mirrored my journey. We had all ventured into the unpredictable ocean of adulting, ridden the high tides of success, and weathered the storms of failures. It was heartening to recognize that we all, in our own ways, were trying to bring about a change, make a difference, and weave our own unique stories. Aware that every bit of our experience, every struggle was a stepping stone in shaping us into better versions of ourselves. Maybe that's the beauty of such reunions. They remind you of where you started, the dreams you had dreamt, and the person you aspired to be. And while life doesn't always pan out exactly as planned, it is heartening to see that every one of us was inching closer to our aspirations, growing, evolving, and redefining our meaning of success. From then to now, the journey was quite an adventurous one, but an adventure I wouldn't trade for anything else. However, apart from the celebratory laughter and pleasant conversations, the early chill of 2022 also brought with it an avalanche of responsibilities. Since my promotion, I had been as busy as a bee navigating through my new role. The first round of the race had begun, and it was time to showcase my skills in the upcoming design proposal. I remember one night I stayed late in the office, tirelessly refining the nuances of my proposal, pausing only to glance out of the office window, lost in the sea of glimmering city lights. There's a unique sort of determination that colors such nights, the stubborn resolve to turn ideas into reality and bring forth something unheard, unseen before. The city moved in its usual rhythm, oblivious to my sleepless pursuit of perfection. Months of untiring efforts led to that fateful day when I confidently walked into the conference room, suffused with anticipations and anxiety. The faces around the table looked at me in silence as I presented my work, my contribution to Volt Motor's vision. With each slide projected on the screen, I could feel a sense of ownership, a sense of accomplishment surging within me. Their approving nods and appreciative comments filled me with pride and joy, further strengthening my belief in my abilities. Looking back, life truly takes unexpected turns. An introvert and a lover of crafting designs in quiet solitude, I had found myself carrying the responsibilities of a lead designer, presenting my ideas and vision to a room crowded with executives. However, the one thing that remained the same, amidst the changing roles and advancing years, was my relentless pursuit to create something extraordinary that pushes the boundaries of design. Despite the taste of professional success, my personal life wasn't devoid of challenges either. With each rising sun, it was becoming increasingly evident that my relationship with Taehyung was going through its highs and lows. We decided to take a step back, to reflect, and agreed to take things slow. The balance between professional commitments and personal life often tilts, makes us wonder, makes us redefine our priorities. But as they say, such are the layers of life, complex yet beautiful in their own unique ways.